I would like to share some words of Torah with you and invite some words of your own Torah uh, as we as we think about this Torah portion of Yitro, which Jethro, not named after the band, um, but uh, but Yitro of the book of Exodus, and Yitro is none other than, put it in the chat box. Who is Yitro? This mystery figure, who's maybe someone knows and will put in the chat box, comes and visits Moses and gives Moses some advice, some very important advice. And we're going to get into that story right now. That's right, for 200 points, Claudia said, father-in-law of Moses. That's right. And so here we go into, yeah, and I think we are there. All right. So you should be able to see this. This is part of our Torah portion for this week. And we are in the middle, and we're going to read a little bit. Now, I'm going to give away the ending. Okay? Here's the ending. Follow along with me. Here are the questions I'm going to ask you, and then we're going to have a little bit of a discussion. What is not working about Moses' leadership model? Okay? That's one. And number two, what qualities of leadership and other best practices does Yitro suggest as a remedy? So what's not working and what might work better according to Yitro? Let's find out. All right, so Exodus, Shemot 18. The next day, Moses sat as magistrate. He was a judge among the people, while the people stood about Moses from morning until evening. He was lishpoting. Lishpot is to judge, and min haboker ad ha'erev, from morning to evening. You're already starting to kind of ruminate, right? What's wrong with this model? But when Moses' father-in-law saw how much he had to do for the people, he said, "What is this thing that you are doing to the people? Why do you act alone, while all the people stand about you from morning until evening?" And Moses replied to his father-in-law, "It is because the people come to me to inquire of God. Lidrosh Elohim. Lidrosh Elohim. When they have a dispute, it comes before me, and I decide between one person and another, and I make known the laws and teachings of God. Chukei ha'Elohim ve'et Torotav." Here's another use of the word Torah, being the teaching. But Moses' father-in-law said to him, "The thing you are doing is not right. Lo tov hadavar." Pretty simple, straightforward response. "You will surely wear yourself out, and these people as well, for the task is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone. Now listen to me." Here we go. Shema. Pay attention. Right? The words we're about to hear right next to the Ten Commandments in this very same Torah portion. "Now listen to me. I will give you counsel, and God be with you. You represent the people before God. You bring the disputes before God, and enjoin upon them the laws and the teachings, the chukim and the Torot, and make known to them the way they are to go and the practices they are to follow. You shall also seek out from among all the people capable men who fear God." Yes, it was just men at the time. "Trustworthy men who spurn ill-gotten gain. Set them these over them as chiefs of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens, and let them judge the people at all times. Have them bring every major dispute to you, but let them decide every minor dispute themselves. What is easy for yourself, make it easier for yourself by letting them share the burden with you. Here you go. The word Hagadol. All the big stuff goes to the big head honcho Moses, and all the katon or katan things, the small things, go to the others. If you do this, and God so commands you, you will be able to bear up, and all these people too will go home unwearied. Moses heeded his father-in-law and did just as he had said. Moses chose capable men out of all of Israel and appointed them heads over the people, chiefs of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens, and they judged the people at all times. The difficult matters they would bring to Moses. V'shaftu, they judged et ha'am. B'chol et ha'tavar hakasheh, the difficult ones, and all the small ones, the katon, the minor ones, they would decide themselves. Then Moses bade his father-in-law farewell, and he went his way to his own land. And so I ask you, what is not working about Moses' leadership model? Tell me about it. And what qualities of leadership and other best practices does Yitro suggest as a remedy and Moses begin to use? And so I'm going to turn it to you to discuss. You can raise your hand, and I'm going to let you unmute yourself to speak. Tell me about Moses' leadership. Anne, please.
So in terms of management, he has the wrong management style and he's doing it all himself. And, you know, you have to delegate some tasks to other people so that everyone doesn't have to lean to you for decisions, I think.
Absolutely. You gotta, delegation is a big deal. I'm just seeing some comments. Mish, you can unmute yourself. While you're unmuting, let's see what they have to say out here. His meetings are too long, says Susan Bachner, and Emily replied, he needs times on his agendas.
What are they talking about?
Mish, please.
Some of you know that I have been an operations manager for 40 years, and the advice is clearly from an experienced management consultant. This Yitro has to be one of the earliest documented management consultants, and he understands that there are fundamental elements for success. One of them is shared knowledge, and another is trust.
Nice. Thank you, Mish. I'm seeing related to that the word empowerment that came up a couple times, and delegating. What is it about delegating? What is it about empowerment? I'm looking around for hands. If you want to speak up, I think Emily, go for it.
So he needs committees with strong chairs who are willing to do the work of the whole community together so that the whole community carries the work of each other rather than one person doing it all. I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, that might be it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Amen, says Tyler. Amy Wenger says, my job as a leader is to lead myself out of a job. Amy, would you be willing to unmute yourself and say a little bit more on that? Because I don't think that that's a leadership model that is always espoused, right?
No, so it goes with that whole thing along the lines of delegation and really challenging others to Emily, really challenging others to do the work and not do the work for them, so that they can, I as a leader can make sure that they're furthering themselves instead of exhausting myself. And it also, it teaches them how to do their job really well, because they know every aspect of it. And at the end of the day, if they go on to a different position, they are, I'm leading them up. I'm not leading them vertically. I'm leading them to be able to move into something bigger and better than what they came.
Thank you, Amy. And I also want to name, though, maybe in counterpoint to that, that there were certain roles that Moses was meant to uphold, and certain that the other leaders were going to uphold. So, there was some hierarchy to this, right? Anybody want to speak to that? Because it wasn't a let's democratize this whole system, or so that everyone has fair access to decision making. Anybody want to touch on that point? And or also, I want to hear, what were the qualities that Yitro suggested in leaders? I see Susan's hand up. Let's go to Susan, because
well, it seems like Moses is the one who could talk to God. That was uniquely one of his jobs that didn't seem to get shared.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate that. I'm also going to the Hendlers in the chat box. It seems like it was also a good succession plan. If there was no institution of leadership other than Moses, there would have been a crisis upon his death. A good leader can step away, and the next person can take over. Absolutely. So, what else? What about the qualities of leadership that were mentioned? Does anybody remember? Why don't let's look at that for another minute here, because I think that's kind of interesting stuff. We'll go back to the text together. It's always good to go back to the text. And let's see. We'll pull the here. Let's make this a little easier to see it together. No, that didn't do it. All right. So here we go. You shall also seek out among all the people capable men who fear God. And here we go. Yir'ei Elohim, Anshe Emet, Son'ei Vetza. So these three qualities in these two-word couplets: those who fear God, or who have awe of God; Anshe Emet, trustworthy men, or people who accept truth, Emet; and then Son'ei Betza, those who spurn ill-gotten gain, those who hate bribes. I mean, why those three qualities? Anybody can unmute yourself and share. Why those qualities in a judge? Maybe, I don't know if she's still here, but RBG, are you still here? What are those qualities in a good judge? Anybody have what to say? What makes a good leader? What are the qualities they need? So leaders cannot succeed by egotism and egoism. But Emily's saying you don't want a bunch of layabouts, so they have to have some drive. And yeah. We have any hands? I've got Mish. Go for it, Mish.
We're speaking of judges, so it has to be clear that these people must have the higher good of the community they serve as their primary goal. We cannot accept judges who have personal involvement in the cases, who have hidden objectives, who are biased. All of those are impossible for success in the community when we're asking for intermediation by intelligent, compassionate people.
Thank you, Mish. I'm sure your students miss you. Even if you're enjoying retirement, you're so on point, and I appreciate that. Um, just going to the Zoom box here for another moment. Um, so uh, the Bruckners are saying the qualities of impartiality, adherence to principles, um, and and for sure, it's a tough. Can I just want to raise that question? Can humans ever be fully impartial? But can we strive for it in law? And um, and then Lynn said, you want someone who respects the rules, who is honest and has integrity, right? And then Aaron Tamkin said, you need folks who will not give in to self-serving decision making, and I think that's it. That's the whole point there. That on the third quality of not taking bribes and hating self-serving uh, decision making, honest people, and and yeah. So just to wrap up this enlightening conversation, and maybe you can read between the lines and see what I did here, folks? How we opened up this conversation to our community and all the wisdom therein, to see what a wealth of Torah teachings exists when we see the Torah as uh, as as rightfully all of ours, the teachings. And that we each are teachers of the Torah, um, and uh, and and so may we live up, each of us live up to these qualities of being in awe of God, uh, truthful and trustworthy people, and those who seek to serve the community and not ourselves. May it be so. Shabbat Shalom.